The second pose in the sequence is a pose called Viparita Karani, which is Sanskrit for legs up the wall pose. I much prefer it in Sanskrit. It's so lyrical. And this is actually a supported, modified shoulder stand, extremely modified. And so you get the benefits of an inversion without the effort, and it's a restorative pose. So again, you just get into the position and then you relax into it and you let the pose work its magic on you. So what you'll need for this pose is, you won't need the yoga block, but you will either need your bolster or your 2 stacked blankets. And you may need 3 depending on how dense your blankets are. So here's the other option. If you're going to do it that way, you'll need 2 or 3 of those. And I'm going to show you the modified both the unmodified version and the modified version. So, depending on whether your hip flexors and your hamstrings are stiff or loose or flexible, or whether your hip flexors are flexible, you'll want to modify it. So, this is one of those poses that's a little awkward when you're first doing it for the very first time, but you get the hang of it pretty quickly. So for me, since I'm tall, I'm starting out about 5 or 6 inches away from the wall. So I have my bolster parallel to the wall. And I like, again, a blanket right in front of it in case the floor is chilly. And this is a wool blanket, which is a nice insulation. Then what you're going to want to do is sit on the bolster sideways. And you can try it both ways. You can try it facing this way or facing that way and see which one feels better to you. And what I'm doing is I'm going to put my legs up the wall vertically, and my torso is going to come down this way. And so I kind of bring my hips off, put my bottom against the wall as much as I can, and then adjust the position so that my cheeks here are just sort of falling off the back side of the bolster, and that I have a little bit of a kind of an open arch to the front of my torso. And my toes are, my ankles and my toes are relaxed, and my legs are straight and parallel. And if you're very flexible, you can, or if you're shorter, you can put the bolster closer to the wall. The unmodified pose is where you're actually really up against the wall and your hamstrings are completely extended. So when you get down, when you get this far, the next thing to do is to rock a little bit with to stretch out your spine and lengthen your cervical spine, mostly with your intention, but also with just a little bit of extension. And flatten your shoulder blades against the floor, and have your shoulder blades be sort of extended out away from your spine, but flat and comfortable against the floor. And then place your arms at the side with palms up. And you don't want your chin jutting into your chest. You sort of want your sternum lifting to meet your chin. So your cervical spine and your neck should feel really comfortably extended, and if you want, you can put a rolled washcloth or hand towel in there to give you a little bit of support if you feel like you want it. Make sure it's not too thick, though, if you do that. So this is the position. Lying here, just receiving the inversion, receiving the blood and the lymph that's coming down in a waterfall cascade of energy down my legs, into my pelvic girdle, into my torso, flowing down my chest and into my head. Receiving the support of the floor. Receiving the oxygen that's flowing down into your brain. Feeling the refreshment that that gives. When you're first doing this, a couple of minutes might be enough. When I'm really, I have varicose veins, and so I love doing this at the end of the day, and I'll do it sometimes for 15 or 30 minutes. 30 minutes if it's been a day where I spend a lot of time on my feet walking on cement or concrete or been on an airplane. If they would only let us do this in the aisles of the airplane. So breathing and receiving. And again, this should actually feel very comfortable and very delicious. And if it doesn't, feel free to play around with the position of the bolster. Come a little further away from the wall, go closer to the wall. If you're tall, you're going to want to have the bolster further away. And if you're less flexible in your hip flexors and your hamstrings, you'll also want it further away. And then when you're ready to come out, go ahead and bend your knees, and then lift up, pull the bolster out, get it out of your way, come slowly down, hug your knees, and we do a little rock. And then turn to your side, using the weight of your thighs to pull you over. And then rest here for a couple of breaths. This is an important part of the pose because you're normalizing your blood pressure right now. If you get up too fast, you'll get dizzy. So stay here for as long as you like. Breathing and receiving. And then when you're ready to come up, put your hand, that's the upper hand, and push up. And then bring the other hand under and push up. Stair stepped like that. Or you can just go to sleep if you've done it at night. So that's Viparita Karani, legs up the wall pose. And the next video will be the final pose in the sequence.